Good afternoon, Ms. Noorminshah.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dimas, and I will become the master ceremony of this class for today.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank
so
you.
you can hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Okay, for all the participants, the class will be started about in approximately 15 minutes. So please do prepare yourself, and please contact your friend or relative that also join this class so they can come before 1 p.m. so we can begin the class not lately. Okay, thank you. Also, for all participants, please do prepare your camera so we all can open the camera in the Zoom meeting, because unfortunately, because this pandemic, we can't meet each other offline. So please do open your camera so we can know each other faces. Thank you. Selamat siang, Bu Ira.
Selamat siang.
Saya Dimas yang jadi MC untuk kelas hari ini ya, Bu ya.
Oke.
Terima kasih, Bu.
Panggilannya Dimas ya. Iya, saya.
Iya, Bu.
Iya.
Iya.
Assalamualaikum, Dr. Ira.
Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Noorminshah.
Apa kabar?
Alhamdulillah baik.
Maaf ya, saya punya Mac ni tidak update OS-nya, jadi tak boleh buat virtual background.
Oh, tak apa-apa. Kita mulai 8 menit lagi. Sambil menunggu yang lainnya.
Mungkin ke teman-teman yang lain bisa minta tolong dihubungin juga teman-temannya supaya segera join. Jadi nggak telat. Okay, for all the participants, I would like to inform you that the class will be start at approximately in 5 minutes. So please do prepare yourself. And I would like to please you all to contact your friend or relative that join this class also, so they can come before 1 p.m. because the class is about to begin in 1 p.m. Thank you very much. Okay, because now it's already 1 p.m., so our class will begin soon. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon for all the participants. I would like to greet you. Welcome to DECOTA 2020. DECOTA is stand for Video Conferencing with Universitas Airlangga. My name is Christian Dimas Renggana. You can call me as Dimas from Information Study Programming of Universitas Airlangga 2019. Will become your master ceremony for the class today. Before we start the class, I would like to greet for our moderator and our speaker. Good afternoon, Mrs. Dr. Noorminshah A, and good afternoon too for Miss Ira Puspitasari.
Good afternoon.
Before we start the class, I would like to inform you about the rundown of this class. This class will be continued by our special moderator, Miss Ira Puspitasari, STMT PhD, from Universitas Airlangga, and will be continued too by our special speaker, Miss Associate Professor Dr. Noorminshah A from Utm Malaysia. She will bring up the topic about success factor and best practice in system and design. After the topics, there will be a Q&A sessions for all the participants. It's open to all participants to ask a question to our speaker about the topic. After that, there will be a photo shoot together with the speaker. So please prepare your cam and your best smile, of course. At the end of the class, there will be a presence and feedback form for all the participants must fill the form to get the e-certificate that will be sent automatically to your email. So please do remember to fill the presence and feedback form. Okay, because that all for the rundown of this class. The class will be continued by our special moderator, Ms. Ira Puspitasari. Ms. Ira Puspitasari, time is yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dimas. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, Honorable Associate Professor Dr. Noorminshah A, our speaker for today's event. It's my pleasure to meet you, finally, Dr. Noorminshah. All lecturers from Information Systems, all students and all participants, welcome to DECOTA 2020 video conferencing for Universitas Airlangga. And this time is for Information System Analysis and Design course. My name is Ira Puspitasari, and it's my pleasure to be the moderator for today's event. And before we begin, allow me to introduce our speaker, Dr. Noorminshah. She is from Azman Hashim International Business School, from University Teknologi Malaysia, Johor Bahru. She received her master's degree in Information System Engineering from University of Manchester Institute of Science and Technology, and PhD in Computation from University of Manchester, United Kingdom. Her expertise includes learning and health information systems, gamification, computer-supported collaborative learning. And she is currently the IT manager at UTM Research Computing Unit. She is also the secretary of Malaysia Association for Information System and a member of IEEE. She has been invited as a speaker to numerous national and international events and conferences. She has received multiple research grants from university and Malaysia governments. Some of her recent publications are Factors Influencing Customer Engagement in Social Commerce Website, a systematic literature review. It is published in Journal of Theoretical and Applied Electronic Commerce Research. And the next publication is a conceptual model for mobile interaction using brain-computer interface. Oh, this is great, brain-computer interface, published in International Journal of Future Generation Communication and Networking, and other publications in ISI and Scopus Index journals, and also proceedings. In industry and international collaboration, she also initiated linkage with cancer support centers and support groups in Malaysia, and involved in the preparation of MOU with university in Australia and Indonesia. Okay, those are only fraction of her achievements. So please welcome Dr. Noorminshah, and she will present a lecture about success factors and best practice in system analysis and design. Dr. Noorminshah, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thank you very much, Dr. Ira and also Dimas. Actually, I am very glad that both of you can pronounce my father's name correctly. Because sometimes, you know, in Malaysia, they call it Jahad or Lahad, but it should be AI Ahad. You have pronounced, both of you have pronounced it correctly. And first of all, also, I would like to thank to all students and whoever is watching this video conferencing, DECOTA 2020. Actually, I'm very glad to be with all of you. I would say the information systems community, because for example, in Malaysia, not all universities have information systems department. Okay, so even like in UTM, there's a long story. Previously, I was in the School of Computing, but then later information systems, the whole information systems department moved to the business school. Okay, so actually, okay, let me start sharing my slides. Can you all see my slides?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. So as requested by Universitas Airlangga, my title today will be Success Factors and Best Practices in Systems Analysis and Design. For your information, I would not like to say that this is a lecture, but this is more of a experience sharing, because Alhamdulillah, I have the opportunity to become the IT manager at UTM. So I am involved with system development in UTM. So that's why I think it's a good thing for me to share with students in your, which year are you all in now? Second year?
Yes, second year.
Second year, okay. So I hope I can give you some exposure to what actually systems analysis design is, okay? Okay, so first of all, before I start, thank you to Universitas Airlangga for inviting me as one of your speakers. Basically, this is the overview or the content of my sharing today. First, I will introduce some introduction about myself and the unit I'm working with. And then number 2, what have you learned? And number 3, it's about a case study on the UTM research systems, okay? So first, introduction, let me introduce you myself. I started become a tutor at UTM, University Technology Malaysia, in 2000 at the Faculty of Computing, okay, until 2017. In 2017, there is a major restructuring of UTM. At that time, we have about 20 faculties. So we combine certain faculties and become schools and so on. So that's why, as I mentioned just now, in 2017, the Information Systems Department decided to join the Azman Hashim International Business School. So we are no more in the Faculty of Computing. The reason why is because Faculty of Computing has joined the pool of School of Faculty of Engineering. So we think the information systems does not fit to be the engineering faculty. So that's why we moved to Azman Hashim International Business School. So basically, I've been in the business school like about 3 years. Okay. At the same time, in 2015, I have the opportunity to I have been appointed as the IT manager at UTM Research Management Center. In UTM, there's one unit who is responsible, for managing research conducted by all lecturers in UTM. So I was appointed to become the IT manager there in May 2015 until November 2017. And there is a new unit being created at the Department of Deputy Vice Chancellor Research and Innovation in 2017. So I was transferred to that department in November 2017 until now. Okay, so for your information, Department of Deputy Vice Chancellor in UTM, there are 4 Deputy Vice Chancellors. I think in Indonesia you call it Wakil Rektor, I think. So there are Deputy Vice Chancellor for Academic, for Student Affairs, for Development and Research. So I am attached at the unit called UTM Research Computing at the Department of DVCRI, Department Research and Innovation. Okay, so as Dr. Ira introduced you just now, I am doing actively research on the area of computer-supported collaborative learnings, health informatics, and also gamification. Okay, next. All right, so for your information, this is my team. Not all of them are in this picture, but basically this is my team, UTM Research Computing. So let me introduce you a bit of the structure of our office. So at the top, we have the Department of Deputy Vice Chancellor Research and Innovation Office. And we are one of the unit or section in this office, which is Research Computing Section. Okay, so under this DVCRI office, we have 5 units. Okay, so when we are doing systems analysis and design, we have to, one of the things that is important for us to understand the structure of the organization, because when we talk about system development, there are people who make decisions, there are people who will do the operations, and so on. So we need to know the structure first. Okay, so that's why I'm telling you, or I'm introducing to you the structure. So under this office, we have 5 main units, which is strongly, or which the roles are related to research. Okay, the first one is RMC. RMC is Research Management Center. So one of the system that is developed for RMC is we call RADIS. So I would like to say that RADIS is the biggest system for research in UTM that handles so many things, operations, decision making, and so on. Okay, the second one is CCIN, or Center for Community and Industry Network or Linkages. So recently, we just launched a new system called ICES. Actually, for your information, this CCIN has requested for a system since 2 years ago. But because there are so many systems that we need to develop, so they have to queue. But Alhamdulillah, we managed to develop for them a system and just launched the user acceptance test end of September. Okay, so for ICC, which is Innovation and Commercialization Center in UTM, we also have one system, which is InnoComs. So InnoComs is a system which help researchers to register their intellectual property, for example, copyrights, patents, and so on. Okay. Another one is University Laboratory Management Center, or ULMC. So there is one system that we developed for them, which is UTM Lab. The system is called UTM Lab. So UTM Lab is a system that manage data about everything about labs. For example, spaces, lab equipments, and also the registration of chemical liquids and so on. Okay, anything about chemical inventory and so on is also catered in UTM Lab. And another unit under the DVCRI is UTM Press, or the one which publishes publications in UTM, in charge of publications in UTM. So the first one is ePress. The system ePress is a system that helps the UTM Press and the researchers to do the publishing of book chapters, okay, book chapters. For e-journals, for your information, we have few journals from UTM, which is Scopus status. So my unit also is the one who's in charge of the e-journals for UTM. And also we have one more system, which is Books Online, which is a platform for UTM Press to sell the books that they have published. Okay, so for now, am I too fast? Is it okay?
It's
It is
okay.
okay. It's
Okay,
okay.
all right, thank you. So next, in our unit, which is the UTM Research Computing Unit, these are the human resources that we have. Number one, we have 6 system analysts. We have 2 documentation officers, 16 programmers, and 1 data analyst. For your information, initially this unit is quite small initially, because initially this unit is only in charge of developing only one system, which is Radis, the one owned by Research Management Center. But as time goes by, we started the unit or the development of the system actually in 2010 with only one system. But after the creation of one specific unit under the DVCRI, now we have about 7 to 10 systems. That's why we need quite a lot of manpower. Okay, so if you look at this, the ratio should be like this. Like we have 16 system analysts and 16 programmers. And we have to remember that when we develop system, we must have documentation, proper and systematic documentation according to standards, according to the standards that have, maybe you can follow, for example, IEEE standard and so on. There are certain standards that we can follow. So that's why we appointed 2 documentation officers, and we also have 1 data analyst. Okay, I would like to share the challenges during systems analysis and design for our team. Okay, when we develop system, there are so many things involved. As you know, I think you have learned about systems development life cycle. So there are a few things that are involved. For example, you need to do the analysis, and systems analysis are involved. You need to communicate with the users. You use various tools. We have to cater the user interface and user experience. We have to do prototyping, wireframing, and so on. So there are many challenges in Sdlc. Before I go further, can I request all of you to scan this and go to this board? Stop sharing. Is it okay, Dr. Ira, if I request the participants to do this?
Yes, no problem at all.
Okay, so please scan this, and then I'll open up this DECOTA 2020 Padlet screen. I would like to ask all of you, each of you, to write on this board what are the challenges that you know when doing systems analysis and design. Has everybody got the QR code? Let me share the Padlet. Okay. So can you please share something? What do you think, or what do you know the challenges in systems analysis and design? I saw 2 now. I can see 2 people sharing. Never ending changes in requirement gathering. Match design with user expectation. Okay. Determine the system needs. Troublesome clients, yeah. Yeah, client can sometimes be troublesome. The challenges is we don't know from where we will start from. Okay. Designing the need of whole system and supporting system. Okay. Probably Dr. Ira can give some marks for these students who replied. Make
Yes,
some.
sure.
Communicating with the client. Okay, we have to understand the system thoroughly also when we are upgrading and making innovation to system. I think basically okay, would take time. Okay, correct. That's very true. Okay, 30 more seconds and then I'll start. I'll go to the next slide. I'll go through what you have written and I'll go to the next slide. I can see some of you changing the color of the notes. The evolution of technology framework in system development. Yes, correct. So many aspects to think about that it cannot, sorry. Great. There's one person typing, can't understand. I let, where is it? Can't understand. Clients. Okay, that's good. Inappropriate timelines. Let me read some of them. Okay, inappropriate timelines. Yes, this is very challenging, especially if you are developing for others, other people, a company, a client. Know what suits the user's needs. Okay, identifying the specific requirement that the system need. Okay, dealing with troublesome clients. Cultivating independent development teams. I think I know who wrote that. Some of my teams are in this Zoom session. Dr. Ira, all of them are very good. I don't need to give a talk anymore. Okay, so good. Well done. So actually, I think this is the, Dr. Ira told me that you have gone through like how many weeks now? 5, 6 weeks of lectures?
This is the fifth week. This
Fifth
is
week.
the, yeah, 5th week.
So fifth week. So you have been exposed to the initial stage of systems analysis and design in a very good manner by Dr. Ira. Congratulations. So good feedback from the students. We consider the system needs and eliminate the wrong one, understanding what the client need and what they want, correct? Competing requirements, requests. We have to understand the system thoroughly. Also, when we are upgrading and making innovations to said system, I think brainstorming will take time. Yes, of course. I will share with you which phase is the most important and the most challenging actually. Okay, designing the need of whole. Okay, so thank you very much for all your responses. Okay, I will save this and I will send it to Dr. Ira later. So let me share again my slides. Okay, well done everyone. Thank you. Okay, so after looking at those challenges that you have given, that you think are the challenges that is faced during this the analysis and design phase, so let's look at our case study, which is the research computing case study. Okay, we know that generally some references say there are 5 phases, some 6. So I'm using this one, the software development life cycle. There are 6 phases, starting from the planning, and then analysis, design, implementation, testing, and integration, and then maintenance. Generally, this is the software development life cycle. Okay, so I would say the most important and critical part is the three first phases, 1, 2, and 3. Because if 1 and 2 and 3 goes wrong, you don't need to tell about 4, 5, 6. The system being developed might be rubbish, might not be used, and you have to redevelop the system. Okay, from our experience, we face that initially in UTM because we hire someone else from outside to develop the system for us. So when that happened, most of the time, or most of the requirements, most of the functions do not need our requirements. So that's why we have this new unit to help us develop our own system, which is in-house. Okay, so when we start with number 1, planning. So first we will think about, or we will ask this question: do we really have a problem and do we need a system? Why is it we need a system? Okay, so in 2010, actually, why we started developing the RADIS system, RADIS for the Research Management Center. Actually, in 2010, UTM achieved the research university status. In Malaysia, there are 5 research universities: University Technology Malaysia, University Malaya, University Utara Malaysia, University Sains Malaysia, University Kebangsaan Malaysia, and University Putra Malaysia. So we have 5 research universities. So in 2010, we got the research university status. When we get this research university status, actually that is an advantage because we got more funds from the Ministry of Higher Education. Okay, so however, when we got these funds, they will rate our performance yearly. So MIRA is an assessment or evaluation of research universities annually, which will be done annually. When there is assessment or evaluation of the university, so we need to be efficient and effective in project management. Okay, specifically research project management, because when the higher education, Ministry of Higher Education provide money to UTM, so the money should be spent in to do research. So to do research, UTM will provide research grants to the academicians. Okay, so we need to manage this efficiently and effectively. Okay, so then comes the question: should we develop ourselves in-house or outsource? So as I mentioned just now, when we have experience with outside vendors developing system for us, and we found that there are so many problems that do not meet our requirement. Okay, so we decided to develop our own system. Okay, and one important thing that I would say is when we want to develop a new system, the management might support or might not support us. So in our case, Radis, it is possible for us to start developing the system because there is top management directives, meaning at that time, the Director of Research Management Center insists that we must have one unit in RMC that caters or that is in charge of developing a system. Okay, for your information, at the university level, we have one center, the ICT center, which we call UTM Digital. Okay, so UTM Digital is a unit which is responsible for developing systems for the whole university, any systems, human resource system, student information system, and so on. But however, the focus or the scope of their system development is mainly for academic. So that's why at that particular year, 2010, the director of the Research Management Center decided that we have to have one team for developing a new system which is for research. So that is the beginning of our journey. Okay. So what we did was we developed a system called RADIS, which is a system for research project management. Okay, so I hope you will pay attention to my lecture slides because at the end of this session, I will have a quiz. Of course, I don't have prizes for you because we are online, but I have a short quiz for all of you. So pay attention to the slides, okay? So RADIS is a system for research project management. As I told you just now, we started developing RADIS in 2010. But we have this new logo since I think end of last year or early this year. That's RADIS new logo. Okay, so for RADIS, before that, as I told you just now, the research computing unit developed quite a lot of systems. But for this case study, I am focusing only on RADIS. Okay, so RADIS, the owner of the system is Research Management Center, which is in charge, which is responsible for managing research grants of academicians. Okay, Dr. Ira, do you think the students is aware about what research grants are, or do you want to explain?
I will explain about research grants. Okay, research grants. I will explain in bahasa Indonesia.
Yeah, sure.
So, ya, research grant itu hibah penelitian, jadi pemerintah ataupun pihak swasta, perusahaan itu memberikan sejumlah dana bagi dosen untuk melakukan penelitian. Nanti di akhir, salah satu pertanggungjawabannya adalah output atau outcome dari penelitian tersebut. Nah, untuk bisa mendapatkan hibah tersebut, itu ada proses seleksi. Proses seleksi ini banyak faktornya. Salah satunya adalah dari proposal, kemudian kegunaan, manfaat, dan output yang dihasilkan. I think that's my explanation about research grant in Indonesia.
Yeah, thank you. So basically when we conduct research, apabila diberikan dana untuk penelitian tersebut, okay, dosen-dosen akan menjalankan penyelidikan kan. Apabila menjalankan research, kita perlu from time to time we need to see or we need to monitor the financial how much is spent by the academicians, and then is the project on time, is the project producing output. So some of the output of the research is, for example, intellectual property or copyright and publications. And what else? The deliverables of the projects. Okay, so when doing a research, it's a very long process from first sending a proposal or developing a proposal, and then the proposal will be evaluated by evaluators, whether it's a good proposal or not. If your proposal is good, so university will provide you money to spend to conduct the research. Okay, so once you get the money, So everything will be captured in Radis. And then when you have the money, what you should do? We have to appoint students to help us conduct the research. We have to buy equipment, for example, laptop or mobile phone or any special equipments. And then we need to conduct research activities. For example, we want to attend conferences or we want to attend meetings. And then until the end, when you complete all your activities and so on, you complete the whole research project, you will want to close the project and then to show that your project is completed. Okay, so previously all this is managed manually, no system. So when there is no system, it is difficult for us to capture the data, because for example, from time to time, the Ministry of Higher Education will ask UTM, okay, how many research grants have you given to the lecturers? How many money has been spent with the money that we have provided you? And for example, how many output, how many copyrights, how many patents have UTM produced based on the money that we have given to you? Okay, so that is a research processes from the beginning until the end. So there are many processes in between, and for your information, the users of this Radis is not only one person, or sorry, not only one unit, but the users are, for example, researchers, research alliances. Research alliances are research champion in UTM. For example, in UTM, we have 5 research alliances. One is on the topic of smart digital community, one is on health and wellness. So 5 main topics, okay, core topics in UTM. They have research deans, so they are the one who will use the system. And then we have at the faculties or at the schools, we have research managers, and we have also other unit involving in research activities. And when we talk about researchers that do research, and also actually do a lot of things in the university, for example, teaching, publishing, and so on, community service and work. So Radis is one of the systems that capture the performance of academicians, and the data in Radis is also used for academicians' appraisal and promotion. Okay, so when in this situation whereby the process of doing research is complex. Why complex? Because, for example, we have one batch of researchers receiving grants in January. Okay, and the grant is for 2 years. Okay, that is one batch. And then let's say another batch, university provide another grant in July for another batch, for example, 100 grants, okay, 100 academicians. So it involves project management, it involves a whole, lots of activities involved. So if we do it manually, it's very impossible. And now we are managing like thousands of research projects, and we cannot afford to do it manually. Okay, so when we are in this situation, so we need to ask what methodology to use. Is it a waterfall or agile? Okay, this in our situation, when we talk about research, the requirements keep on changing. Okay, that's why there is no way that you can outsource this system. Once, if you outsource, you will be charged a lot, because maybe every 3 months, 4 months, there are new requirements. And also there are new requirements because of the research nature of research process, number one. And number two, because sometimes policy change from the Ministry of Higher Education. So once the policy change, the way we report, the way we capture data will also need to be changed. Okay, so number one, we have to consider the requirements keep on changing. Number two, we have many stakeholders and users. Okay, for that, okay, but sorry, before that, previous slide, sorry. Okay, Because of that, we can't afford to use the waterfall method, because the waterfall method is very structured from one to another to another. It's very sequential, right? For your information, this is generally, these are the modules for RADIS. Number one, grant application and registration, and then grant evaluation, project activation, management of budget allocation, project member management, meaning, for example, in the middle, you are conducting the research, you have one new member, so you can add the member. Okay, appointment of RO is research officer, assistant research officer. Okay, appointment of RSG, when we are conducting research, we can hire, or we can hire students part-time to help us doing research. And then project progress monitoring, we can monitor the progress of the grants, extension of project duration. Okay, so sometimes the project is 2 years, but researchers cannot finish in 2 years, so they can apply for another 3 or 6 months extension, for example. Okay, application for conducting activity, for example, you want to travel out of the university, so you must apply, we must apply. And then SODO environment, this is about transferring amount of money, and also online claim and payment. Okay, for your information, before we have the RADIS system, it takes about sometimes 1 month or 2 months to get back the researchers' money. For example, when we conduct research, we buy something or we spend the money to travel, so we pay using our own money, so it will take about 1 to 2 months to get back our money. That one is the manual system. But Alhamdulillah, when we have the RADIS system, it takes about 1 to 2 weeks to get back our money. So that is one of the things that make researchers happy. Okay, so I would like to show something here at the top. These are all the modules, and for your information, RADIS system not only cater grants information, but it involves the use of data from various systems, which is from the human resource systems, from our financial system, and also from student record system. So when there are multiple systems involved, we must make sure that we use one database so that we can do the sharing of data. Okay, so for in UTM, we can develop many systems, but the requirement is we use one same database, and the database is maintained and provided by our ICT center, which is known as UTM Digital. Okay, so as I told you just now, if we use waterfall model, it is sequential, and from the two main factors that I mentioned just now. Number one, because of the requirements keep on changing. Okay. Number two, because there are so many stakeholders, so many people, so many multiple users for this system. So we decided to use the Agile development methodology. Okay. So if you look at this figure, we have brainstorming, design, development, quality assurance, deployment, and then either we deliver to the client, and also then we can do the next iteration. Okay, so I would say, just now I saw some of you mention about the brainstorming. Yeah, it took a lot of time. Yes, it's correct. So that's why I put red dotted lines there. These two phases are very critical phases. Okay, number one is the brainstorm, which involves the requirement analysis and design, the design of document and prototype. Okay, so when we talk about brainstorming, requirement analysis, and designing, the core person, which is very important to make sure that the requirements is translated properly into a system that is usable, is the role of the systems analyst. Okay, so a systems analyst is a very important role in the system development, of course, in addition to the project manager. Okay, so there are specific skills that is needed as a systems analyst, because, for example, when we develop system, it's not only about automation. It's not about changing from manual to a system, not directly changing it to a system, but it's more than that, because sometimes when your clients, when the users tell us these are the requirements, as a system analyst, you should tell the users that, okay, this is doable and this is not doable. So it takes time and it takes experience. The systems analyst need to be an experienced person, okay, to make sure that the system developed is well designed. Okay, so how do we ensure that the system that we designed, the analysis that we did is correct? So what we do is we use wireframing. Okay, we use wireframing to ensure that when we want to get the requirements, normally we have meetings. Okay, first of all, when we conduct meetings, we must ensure that all stakeholders, all users that are related to the system must be there. If one of them not there, it won't happen. I mean, the requirements won't be comprehensive, and I'm afraid later you have to do the brainstorming again. So that is the first requirement. Make sure that all related users, stakeholders are there. So normally we will have discussions, meetings, or workshops to gather the requirements. Okay, so once we have the requirements, the system analyst will translate to what they can understand, and they will develop the wireframes. Okay, so this is what I would just want to show you the difference between what is a sketch, wireframe, and so on. Okay, so when you have, as a systems analyst, when you get the requirements, you can sketch using pen and paper. Okay, the first one, sketch. Another way of from the sketching, you can use a computer tool to draw a wireframe. Okay, and next you can draw a mock-up. Okay, a mock-up is more contain the visual, graphic, and content. Okay, the wireframe is just like a plain and boxes and so on. And then the last one is prototype. So prototype is like if you give it to a client or a user, the feel is like using a real system, but actually it's not. It's just the interface. Okay, so these are the differences between the four of them. Okay, so what we did in the research computing unit is we use wireframing. Okay, I just want to share you some principles of effective UI wireframes. Number one, it must demonstrate an understanding of the problem. Okay, focus on user needs, thoroughly explore solutions, don't show more detail than necessary. So this is also a skill. Yeah, probably you won't need to show everything. Show the general idea first, then get feedback, and then later we show them again. Okay. Number five, the focus is more on functional, not fanciful. That's why it's okay to have wireframe, not mockups, because our main objective is to get or to really understand the functions. Okay. Number six, follow UI design patterns. Okay, make sure that the buttons are the same in all pages and so on. Invite discussion. Okay, so in our context, Radis, we have frequent discussions to ensure that the requirements are correct. Number eight, incorporate idea from others. Okay, we already have the idea of the system, but we frequently call the potential users to give their feedback. Okay. Number nine are easy to understand, and then number 10, validate the solution with users and team members. Okay, so these are some principles that we can use when developing effective UI wireframes. Okay, so this is an example of the wireframing tool that we use at the research computing unit, which is Balsamic. Okay, so this is, I just want to show you the interface. This is Balsamic, the one that we use. Maybe later you can use it for your group project, maybe. Okay, so this is another screenshot for the system that we developed by research computing. So for example, we use this wireframe to show the users, to show our clients that these are the, at the top, these are the menu. Okay, we have engagement information, details, stakeholder for this particular project, who are the community, what are the attachment, and so on. So this is example of the interface. Okay, so and this one, for example, we have the drop down list, what are the information needed, and so on. And then also we have the user said that they need to upload, they need some documents as a proof, okay, as evidence. So these are the files that need to be uploaded. So as a system analyst, what you should know and what you should do is to, when the user tell you that these are the requirements. So what you can do is, number one, we can take or we can check the manual forms that they used before. What are the forms that they use? Okay, so when we refer to the forms that they use, we can see that, okay, what are the categories available? So that's why you have these categories. You can put it as the drop-down list. Okay, and then when we talk about these files, okay, browse, upload, and so on. Number one, we must identify what are the types of files that is okay for them to upload. Okay, of course, you can allow the users to upload any file, PDF, image, and so on. But for our context, we restricted the users to upload only PDF file. Okay, for safety and security reasons, we only allow only PDF file. And at this part, we can ensure and we can get the requirements from the users to mention that, okay, which files are compulsory, which are not compulsory, and so on. Okay. So, and at the same time, when using this kind of wireframing tool, you can have comments here. Actually, you can also share this balsamic with your clients so they can go through and give their comments and so on. Okay, so these are some of the wireframes. And for your information, when we are doing systems analysis and design, one of the also important skill required for a system analyst is database concepts. Okay, when we have this kind of wireframe, the system analyst can already imagine, can already design the database structure. That's why if in UTM, we teach system analysis and design and database at the same semester so that they can relate the system analysis and design and also the database. Okay, so when designing these wireframes at the same time, the system analyst can structure the database design. Okay, so the one that I shared just now, there are two tools that we use in, one tool that we use in UTM, which is Balsamic. There are other possible tools that we can use, which is number one is mockups, MOQUPS. Okay, you can try this later. Of course, you can try the free account, but limited number of screens. Okay, and another one that I feel is quite cool, because the name is Proto Prototype, right? So it's more like a real system. You can make it like a mobile. When you develop the mobile prototype here, you can share the link on SMS, and when somebody click the SMS on the phone, you can feel like there's a real mobile app. Okay, so this is one of the possible wireframing tool or prototyping tool that you can use. Okay, so with the things that I mentioned just now, the multiple stakeholders and so on, so there are many challenges that we face when developing the system. Okay, of course, when can somebody tell me, what do you think are the challenges when we use Agile compared to Waterfall? Anyone want to answer? Any volunteer?
Excuse me, ma'am. I would like
Yeah.
to answer. Oh, okay, thank you. First of all, I'm sorry that I'm using the information systems account for this Zoom meeting because I have the responsibility to share it on YouTube.
No
So
problem.
in my opinion, first of all, my name is Halim and my last student ID number is 012. So in my opinion, the difference between waterfall and agile mechanism is that if you're using waterfall, it has the ability to structure it even more or in detail, but in agile, we have to constantly look back and try to make it better along the way. So that's the thing that we have to look on with agile and waterfall. Meanwhile, in waterfall, we have to set it up at the very first step and we have to follow that step structuredly until the end. But agile, it's more reliable that we have to look back and see what we can fix at that time. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, great, great. That's a good answer. Yes, you're right. When we use a waterfall model, it's more structured, but normally it will require a longer time to produce the system that is usable. Okay, because we have to follow really step by step. But in the context of system development, which is a shorter time, so we propose the agile method. But of course, there are many challenges during using agile method. One of the most said challenge is the documentation. Okay, so it's not easy to, because for waterfall, normally, for example, if you are developing a system for a client, okay, before starting the coding, before starting the development of the system, there is a phase where you will show the you will show the users, you will show your client, these are your requirements. Okay, and you have, if you agree with it, you have to sign, and then we start coding or we start develop your system. Okay, but in the context of agile, especially if we are doing it in-house development, okay, I'm not saying about developing for other person, but for an in-house development like in UTM, I would say that we do it quickly. We have requirements, we show the wireframes, they agree, and then we build up, and then we test, and then we do, they will check whether there are new requirements, and we add requirements, and so on. But of course, although the requirements keep on changing, again, it is the role of the systems analyst to, and the system analyst and also the research, the project manager, to really strictly say, okay, these are the requirements that we have agreed in this duration of time. We have developed this and you have agreed on this. If you want more, we can do it, but we will launch these modules first. Later, we add on the small requirements that you requested. Okay, so when we talk about waterfall versus agile, there are risks. Okay, if you look at the agile, the risk is jumpy. Okay, for the waterfall, initially the risk is quite low, but if the requirements go wrong towards the end, it will also be riskier. Whatever it is, when you are developing a system, it's risky. Okay, we cannot run away from the risk. Okay, so let me share with you what my systems analysts say about their experiences in developing systems. Okay, number one, frequent requirement changes. Okay, so this is, I think some of you already put it in the Padlet just now. Okay, frequent requirement changes. This is Madam Fida. She has been with us for 9 years. For your information, we developed Radis in 2010, the first Radis version, we call it Radis version 3.0 because previously we have independent system, not web-based. 2010, we developed a web-based system. So she has been with us for 9 years. And then for your information, in 2010, we developed the system, the Radis, using Java platform, okay, Java programming language. And unfortunately, in 2000, I think in 2015, 16, there are changes, there are upgrading of the Java framework and so on. So the system become not less secure and so on. So we decided to develop a new Redis, a new, totally new system. You know, IT changes too fast. So at that time, we follow what UTM Digital or UTM ICT Center, they have their policy. If you want to develop a new system, it must follow our rules. So at that time, the rule is you must use Windows platform using .NET programming. Okay, so we started developing Redis 4.0 in 2019. Okay, 2019, early 2019. So Miss Fida, Madam Fida, is the lead system analyst for Redis, the new Redis, with Madam Aklima. Okay, so that the first one, frequent requirement changes. Okay, next we have Emma, another one of my system analysts, Emma. She has been with us for 10 years. So in her opinion, one of the challenges during systems analysis and design, and of course during the development, is to cultivate independent developers team. Okay, you can have a good system system analyst, but if your programmers, if your system developer is not independent, it will also be quite stressful, maybe. Is Aklima here? I think she was here just now in the Zoom session. Okay, so cultivating independent team. So it takes time for us to cultivate, to develop independent teams so that they can, work themselves and highly motivated to make sure that the codes are correct and so on. So that's Madam Emma's opinion. Okay, for Miss Dura, she has also been a systems analyst for 10 years. So for her, one of the challenge that she thinks is rapid technology advancement. Okay, technology keep on advancing. For example, previously we developed using .NET MVC. Now we are developing using .NET. I can't remember the name. Sorry, but the technology keep on changing, and we have to make sure that we also move fast. Okay, so that is the from Miss Dura. Okay, so we have three other systems analysts. Mr. Farizi. So for Mr. Farizi, his opinion is one of the challenges, there is no solid policies by system owner. Okay, so when we are developing the design for the system, it is important for us to ask the user whether they have policies involved. Okay, so for example, if we want to ensure that the users must use this system after being developed, okay, and there are certain roles that must use this system, so there must be policies from the owners. If there are no policies, people won't listen, people won't use the system. Okay, so sometimes if there is no policy, it's difficult for us to ask people to use the system, number one, and also it's difficult for us to really make sure that the requirements are final. Okay, the requirements are as needed by them. Okay, so Farizi has been a system analyst for 10 years. Okay, Mr. Lokman with the nice flowers beside him. Okay, so actually Mr. Lokman has been working for 13 years. In addition, as a systems analyst, okay, we call Mr. Lokman as our server man. Anything about server, Git, whatever about server, so he is the man. So for him, one of the challenge is complex requirements. Okay, some requirements requested can be very complicated because it involves many parties. It involves many units in the universities to make sure that the system is running well, to make sure that the system meets the requirements of everybody. So it can make the requirements very complex. Okay. So, and the very young, our very young and lovely system analyst, Miss Madam. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to change her name. Her name is Aisha. Okay, Madam Aisha. She has been with us for 2 years. Okay, so she is in charge of one of the system involving research assets in UTM, a totally new system, totally new module. So one of the difficulties that she is facing is undocumented processes. Okay, some units, they have a very clear process. They have documented processes. These are the steps that we need to go through when we do something. Okay, I think you have gone through the topic of business process modeling. Okay, so but some units, they just don't have any proper process documented. So it becomes quite difficult for the systems analyst to capture what they really tell. Okay, of course, we can ask the system owner, okay, you go back, please draw your process first, then come back. But then it will take a longer time. Okay. Okay, so that are the 6 system analysts involved. And we have 2 documentation officers, okay, which are my research officers. Okay, 2 of them, Lina and Nani. So initially in 2010, when we have this IT unit, we don't have anybody who is specifically in charge of documentation. So the system analysts do the analysis requirements, database design, and so on. And they also do the documentation. But because the development methodology is agile, sometimes the documentation is not prepared systematically. So that's why we decided to recruit 2 documentation officers. Okay, so Nani, for Nani, she thinks that it is challenging to convert various types of requirements and combine them into a few types of specific document. Okay, as I mentioned just now, we have various users with various needs, and then to combine it to become one specific document is challenging. Okay, that is from Nani. And for Lina, Lina specifically for now is in charge of developing user manuals for our system. So as I told you, there are quite frequent requirement changes. So because of frequent requirement changes, the system will also change, user manual will also change. So it takes ages to update user manual once changes are made. Okay, and also now is very challenging because users nowadays are not like 5-10 years ago. We now prefer to watch videos, right, for the user manual, not read the user manual, check one by one. So it is Lina's job with Nani to develop user manual using video. So if something, if the requirement changes, so she has to redo the videos and so on. So that is the challenge. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. Maybe I can break for 2 minutes. Okay. So while we break for 2 minutes, can I request you to go back to the Padlet just now? Is everybody okay? Can everybody smile? Thank you. So can we go to the Padlet just now? Sekejap ya. Mana Padlet saya? Okay, mungkin boleh ditambah di bawah lagi nanti. Apa saya nak tanya ya? Okay, what have you learned so far? If there's something new that you want to say, or what have you learned so far? Just write something. Actually, I need 2 minutes to break. So just write something. System design is hard. Okay, yeah. Okay. Okay, I learned about Agile method. Okay. Radis history. Know a little about system design. Okay. Need to learn algorithms and methods. Okay. I learned how to manage and analysis and design properly. Okay. Analysis and design according to user requirement need to be properly regulated. Okay, good. Analysis and design can't make only just one person. Yeah. For Radis, for example, there are so many modules. We have 10 to 12 modules. So actually, it's not only one system analyst. For Radis, we have 3 system analysts and 5 to 6 programmers, full-time programmers. You learn about development methodology, okay. I learned that detailing requirements is important, so the system will work well, correct? Detail is very important, of course, very important. Okay, as a system analyst, when we talk about detail is very important, I think, I'm not sure whether you have learned or not, but in systems analysis and design, you have, for example, decision table, criteria, and so on. So those are some of the important things that you really need to take care of properly when getting the user requirements. How important planning is before development, before creating the system? Yes, as I mentioned to you just now, the 2 main phases, the planning and analysis and design, planning, analysis, and also the design phase are the most important ones. I would like to share with you one not so nice experience. Last year, we were involved with one system development, and then it took like about maybe 9 months for the system to be developed. But somehow, I think because not all stakeholders were there when we captured the requirements, this system is not developed by our unit, but by other unit. Finally, the system has to be redeveloped to cater new requirements. Okay, so again, that's why user requirements is very important. You have heard of GIGO, right? GIGO, garbage in, garbage out. So if the requirements is wrong, everything will go wrong. Okay. Okay, thank you very much for the input. You know about 10 principles of effective UI for wireframes. System analyst is people who was able to predict the future. Yeah, somehow they can see what how users will use the system. Okay. The team in system analyst must convert a lot of ideas to one big idea that make the system going well. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. I am really happy with your feedback. Okay, so I have a rest for 2-3 minutes. Let us continue. Okay, so one of the agile method quite well known now is called BizDevOps. Okay, one of the methodology in system development, BizDevOps. But this is a very structured and very detailed method which I have not explored all. But there is one specific activity is in this BizDevOps methodology that we have applied in our research computing unit. Okay, which is this one, stand-up meeting. Okay, when developing system, we need to get feedback from the programmers. For your information, this is my personal experience. Most programmers don't really like much to talk with people. Not everybody, not all programmers, but most of them. Okay, they prefer to sit on the laptop, do their coding, put their headphones. Okay, so sometimes we do not know what problems they face while doing the system development, while doing the coding. Okay, so one of the well-known method in the BizDevOps is stand-up meeting. Okay, stand-up meeting is done daily, one session daily. Okay, so like in this picture, this is my team. Everybody gather together at one space, one session daily. Sometimes we gather in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon. During the COVID movement control order in March, we don't have stand-up meeting, so we have online sitting meeting. Okay, so we update our progress once in 3 times weekly. Okay, but if we are in the office, so this is what we do: daily session. Each person speak for maximum of 2 minutes. Okay, sometimes some of them speak for only half minute because, for example, Shukri talk so fast, so speak so fast. He will talk like about half minute only. Okay, so when they are speaking, what they are required to do is, number one, tell everybody in the meeting that what are the tasks done for the previous day, what have they done before. And then what are the tasks to be done the current day? What is she or he going to do today? Okay, so this is what we practiced since 18th of August last year. Okay, and without fail, alhamdulillah, we do this session every day to ensure that all problems can be solved quickly. Okay. Oh, sorry, wrong spelling. So this is a conclusion that I can make based on the challenges, based on the nature of the project in UTM for the system development of RADIS for Research Management Center. Okay, I would say there are 11 success factors and also best practices in our case. Okay, for other cases might be different. It will depend on whether it's in-house development or outsourced, whether a vendor developed for you, but this one is specifically for our team, specifically for the case study in UTM. Okay, number one, it's top management support. Okay, so this is a directive from top management that we need to have a system. Number one. Number two is budget. If it is a directive, we don't have budget, we cannot hire people, so it will be problematic. So number two is budget. Number three, the role of project manager. Okay, so it is very important for the project manager to have good negotiation skills. Okay, especially in our context, we develop in-house. So actually, all the clients are from other units that sometimes we have to negotiate. For example, they want it by next month or end of this month, but we are still changing the system because of new requirements and so on. So we have to negotiate well with the clients. Okay, so number 4, understand the nature of the system. Okay, so like I mentioned just now, the system might need the usage of various units, and not only units, various roles. The roles in the system can be normal users, admin, super admin, and so on. Okay, number 5, skillful systems analyst. As I mentioned to you just now, the analyst must be experienced, must be one of the things that is also important when as a system analyst, he or she must be confident with what she already captured, and also must be quite strict with the user requirements. Okay, capturing the user requirements. So as sometimes the user keep on changing and also keep on, you know, small things, because of their fault we are being blamed. So, and there's number 5 is also related to number 6. There must be very frequent communication with stakeholders. Okay, and of course the systems analyst must have good communication skills. Okay, number 7, each process need to be documented well. Okay, each discussion that you go, each requirements analysis that you did with the users must be documented properly, documented systematically. Okay, number 8, ensure the owner has a proper policy and procedure. Okay, if there's no policy procedure, you can still proceed with the development, but it will later be problematic for the users, and also for us, we will need to keep on changing things. Okay, number 9, this is more on development rather than analysis and design. Train the programmers as soon as possible using available resources. Okay, for our programmers, previously some of them are not familiar with .NET programming. They are familiar with PHP, for example, so we train them using Udemy video courses. And then what we did was we have pair programming session. So a senior programmer will coach a more junior programmer. Okay, so that speed ups the learning process. Okay, number 10, use proper tools. So for example, in our group, in our research computing unit, we use Balsamiq, okay, and also we use other tools like Git, and also we use apa lagi ya? There's one system, open source, called OSTicket. OSTicket. Actually, this OSTicket is used for as an online help desk, but we use this system, we customize to our needs. So we use this system to ensure that when there are new requirements, new changes needed, the request will be sent through this system, so it is documented or it is captured properly. Okay, so that is another tools that we use. Okay, number 11, although it's number 11, the last one, but nowadays I think we really need to look into this matter. I think later this part, I think Dr. Ira is very good in this part. Okay, so understanding user need. Nowadays the users of computers are different from last 10-15 years. The focus on design should be human focused, not function focused design. So this one, number 11, is related to a field of research called gamification, which is also one of my research area that I love most. Okay, so we must focus on the human, not the function, more on the human. Okay, then next, number 2 is the function. For now, I would say for Radis, we are focusing more towards the function first. From time to time, we try to cater, we try to ensure that we also focus on the human design. Okay, so that's the final slide. before we end, maybe we want some questions first before we go to a quiz. Any question?
Please, if you have any questions, students and participants, you can ask directly. Don't forget to mention your name.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you for the time. My name is Ibrahim Hafizan with student ID number 052. Thank you for the time that is been given to me. Before I ask my question, I would like to elaborate some things first. As we all know that the rapid development of our technology has been growing quite tremendously in these recent years, especially these years. That impact on many sectors like politics, economic, and even education system like this. And subconsciously, it giving us a new way of thinking, right? Pertaining to it, I think this matter may giving an influence on clients' demand. This demand will keep on shifting as the development keep on changing, the technology keep on changing, and it finally coming to the point where the demands reach the highest level of shifting, and somehow it changed the cycle, the software development cycle, if it's possible. And my question is, first, is it possible that this matter will somehow change the structure of the cycle, the software development cycle? The matter in this regard is tremendous dynamic shifting of technology advancement. And the second one is, what do the IT expert should do in order to dealing with this challenge? Should we keep on sticking to the recent cycle, or we try to, create a new idea to the cycle, or what we should do? If we decide to keep on sticking to the same rule of cycle, how do we preserve this? I think that's all of my question. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. First of all, you are asking about the life cycle, whether it might change, right?
Yeah.
Like for
right.
example, some for the system development life cycle, the general one, there are 5 or 6 cycles, right? And we have various models like Waterfall, Agile, Biz DevOps, and so on. Okay, so each person who invented the models have their own ideas of doing things, of developing the systems. Okay, so those are the standards. Sdlc, Waterfall, Rapid Prototyping, RAD, Scrum or Agile or Biz DevOps. So these are the established systems development lifecycle. Okay, if you want to, I'm imagining that you are an innovator. Maybe one day you will become someone who innovate a new model, which is actually possible with this new era of systems development. You might come out with new models. Okay, so it's not, it is impossible to have new models if you conduct research. So you have to do masters or PhD lah. Okay, you have to go to software houses to ask what are the experience. There might be another one additional phase, maybe one additional phase. Maybe I don't know what's the phase, but it's possible. Okay, with the new requirements, with the new trends, and so on. That's for question number 1. For question number 2, what should IT experts do? Okay, of course, requirements keep on changing. IT or the technology keep on changing. That's why it's important from the earlier part of the system development, when there is an agreement with your client, you will have to properly state that these are the technology that we will use, and that has to be agreed upon with the clients. Okay, and of course on the client part, it is their responsibility to ensure that the vendor that they choose are the ones who are up to date with technology. Okay, and this is another one important point I think I want to highlight. There is one specific area of research called knowledge, body of knowledge called IT strategic planning. Okay, IT strategic planning, meaning in an organization, in 5 to 10 years, what are the systems, IT systems that are required, that are planned by your organization? Okay, so each organization should have this IT strategic planning. So if we have this plan, we can know that what are the systems we want to develop from time to time, and the IT manager or the IT director should know the big plan for the architecture of the IT systems in that particular organization. Okay, so even if we cannot run away from technology advancement, but the least that we can do, that we hope that a particular new technology is stable and can be used for at least another 10 years. Okay, because if you look at software life cycle, it will go up and then it will go down, and there will be new technologies. So we cannot run away from that. What we can do is just to make sure that we are up to date with the technologies, and we are sure about the technology readiness, how far it can go. Okay, so that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other question? Maybe one more question before the quiz. Yes.
Hello, my name is Marsha. My student ID is 038. I'm gonna ask some question, but out of topic, because I think when I do my task about analysis and design, I would like to say that I'm lack of idea, and I think my friend feels that too, and you did that too, maybe. And my question is, how do you keep motivated when you're lack of idea? Thank you.
When how do you keep motivated when? Sorry.
When you're lack of idea and don't know what to do with
when you are lack of ideas. Yeah, I assume this is a general question, right?
Yeah. I would like to say that.
How do you get motivated when you are lack of ideas? Okay, let me tell you the truth. Some of my teams are in this Zoom session. Okay, maybe if I say this, they will laugh. One of the things that they normally do when they are lack of ideas are, number one, we will eat. Okay, so this is the fun part of the team. Whether we eat or sometimes we make noise in the office. Is Lokman here? Lokman? Boleh boleh on-kan video?
Yes, I'm here.
Maybe not. Nampak tak? Actually, I would like to show you my team, but they are not here. They are okay. So, how to get motivation? The answer is how to get motivation. Okay. So that's my team. Mr. Lokman, can you show our team? Go around.
Actually, I'm using a laptop right now. Hello.
Can everyone see the Mr. Lokman?
Say hi.
Yeah, you can.
Angkat tangan, angkat tangan. Cuba berdiri, cuba berdiri.
Berdiri, satu minta diri.
Tangan, stand up. Mana, we have one team member which is always talkative. Mana Aida?
Hello.
Oh, you have session. Hold on. Okay, students, dear students, sekejap, Lokman, stop. Lokman, stop jap. Okay, for your information, these are our clients, the users of our system. We are updating with them the system that we are developing. We are actually confirming with them, doing a demo of the online claim and payment module. Okay, team kewangan, finance team, can you raise?
Okay, say hi.
Okay, thank you. Okay, tunjuk Aida. Mana Aida? Okay, this is one of our team members that will always cheer us up. When we are sad, we will go to her. Okay, thank you everyone. Thank you, Lokman. Okay, so I would say the fun one, if you are lack of motivation, number one, eat. Number two, get a team member that is helpful, can cheer you up. That is the fun one, okay? But the serious one, what we can do is try to read books, probably boring for you, I'm not sure, that is inspiring, related to software development. Okay, related to software development. Hopefully you will get ideas. And also one more thing, the last thing that I think I can share with you is just browse through the internet, look for systems that is almost similar to what you are developing, to what you are trying to come up with. Okay, so then you will get ideas, and inshallah you can move on with the new ideas and innovate new ideas. Okay, I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Welcome.
Okay, maybe one.
Any more question? We can go to the quiz.
Excuse me, can I ask a question?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, please, Aura.
Okay, so my name is Aura. I have two questions. It's more about the paper and the grant thing. So the first question is, what happened if in the end, after you get the grant and everything, but then there's no output or there's not enough output to give? And then the second question is, excuse me for a second.
Number one
so
is
when
what?
you write, so the
Sorry,
second question is, I'm sorry. So the second question is, when you write a paper, there will be a lot of other papers to read or review, right? So how do you know that you don't miss other people's contribution that might be connected to your research topic? Because there are just so many resources to read. And what if that happened to you? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. So this question is related to doing research, right? Less on the systems analysis and design. Number one, regarding the when we do research, what happens if you don't achieve enough outcomes? That is what I understand. Okay, so in UTM context, if you don't achieve the outcome, most probably the next cycle of grants you will not get any grants, any new grants. Okay, for UTM, for you researchers in UTM. So let's say you have one cycle of grant for 2 years, January 2020 to January 2022, for example. Okay, and you don't really achieve the output that is expected. So when you want to apply new grants, probably you will be at the bottom of the list because you don't perform. That's number one. Okay. Number two, and actually with that, the system can cater. With having the system, the research management center do not need to check one by one and so on. What we can do is when we open up a new grant proposal, the system straight away filter anyone who has not performed, cannot propose or cannot apply for new grants. Okay, so that is where the system is helpful. Okay, so we can filter from the beginning, number one. For question number two, Of course, when we do research, it is sometimes impossible for us to know everything, right? So that's why when we do research, when we do literature review, we must make sure that we follow or we use a proper methodology. Okay, so when you present in your thesis or in your publication, the methodology is very important. In the methodology, you will detail out how you do the literature review and also what is the scope of your research. If you already prepare a scope for your research, so people cannot question you more because you already put a scope and also, I'm sorry, kering pula tekak. You have already prepared a scope and also you have followed a proper method. Lupa lah saya nak buat air. You have prepared a scope and you have followed a proper methodology. Okay, so one of the well-known methodology for doing literature review to ensure you follow a proper methodology is the systematic literature review. So I would like to suggest you, maybe you can go through the systematic literature review paper. How is it done? So follow the steps properly and inshallah you will have the papers that is really related to your field. Okay. Most importantly, in Malaysia context, we make sure that students must refer to papers which are indexed in Scopus and Web of Science. So those are the main references. Then only you can go to other references like from Google Scholar and so on. Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Aura.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, regarding the systematic literature review guide, there's one, the one first published is I think in 2000, I can't remember, but if you want later you can email me, I can send to you the paper. Okay, so any more question? If there's no more question, we can go to the quiz. So can we go to the quiz, Dr. Ira?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. So where is it? Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me open. Okay. Can you go to kahoot.it and then key in this number? Okay, everyone. Congratulations to how do I mention how do I pronounce RHEI, right? Halim Wildan and Nazla. Congratulations. Okay, so I think that is the end of my lecture today. I hope all of you have learned something today, if not much. So inshallah, I will see you again. Is it the same class, Dr. Ira?
Different class. Different class.
The same class?
No, different class.
Oh, sorry, different class.
Different
So
class, yes.
I will meet Universitas Airlangga students again, inshallah, in November. So I hope you have learned something from me. If you have any maybe question or anything that you would want to ask, you can send me an email at minshah@utm.my, minshah@utm.my. And maybe, who knows, one day, if you are interested to do industrial training and UTM research computing, I am happy to accept any of you at our unit. Okay, so that's all for now. Thank you very much, Dr. Ira and Dimas. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Noorminshah, for your enlightening presentation and for your interactive quiz. It was fun, I think. So the students are wake up. Okay, thank you very much also to all students and other participants for your active participation and for good, very, very good questions. Thank you. Hopefully what we learned today can be beneficial to all of us. And I apologize for any flaws and mistakes during this event. And I think the time is up, so I return to Dimas.
Okay, thank you very much for Ms. Noorminshah as the speaker and Ms. Ira as the moderator. Thank you very much. So we now reach the end of this class. So before we close this class, let's have a photo shoot first. So please, everybody, all participants and my friend, please do open your cam so we can have a photo shoot together. Halim, is it you who's gonna take the photo shoot or who?
No, it should be Helmi. Helmi is
Okay.
ready now.
Okay. Okay, is everybody ready? Okay, Helmi, let's do the photo shoot.
Okay, first slide. 1, 2, 3. Wait. Next slide. Slide 2. 1, 2, 3. Wait. Slide 3. 1, 2, 3. Slide 4. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you very much, Helmi, for the photo shoot session. Okay, before we close the class, for the committee of DECOTA 2020, please do send the link of the form, the present and feedback form, so everybody can fill the form. Please, all the participants fill the presence and feedback form so you can get the e-certificate that will send automatically to your email. Please do not forget to fill the form to get the e-certificate. Okay, thank you for all the participants in this class. Thank you for joining the DECOTA 2020. And special thank to our speaker, Mrs. Associate Professor Dr. Noorminshah A. Thank you very much. And also thank you for Ms. Ira Puspitasari as our moderator today for the lesson that have given to the class today. Thank you and see you in the next DECOTA 2020. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please do not forget to fill the form first. Thank you.